tell us a little bit about your experience of what happened yesterday when you were on board that plane that crashed yesterday?
Yeah, well, my experience started off very well in the morning. I went to the airport, which was, this is the first time I fly out from our new airport, and it was very welcoming. We felt very hopeful, and everything really looked nice. Even the planes that we were riding on, the last time I rode with Dalo and Juba was about 8 years ago, traveling to 9 years ago, traveling to Djibouti. So even the planes were a lot bigger and better, and the customer service that we received, and everything was really going into place that I noted down that things were improving. And when I went into the plane and most people started boarding the plane, it was okay. The plane was not that full, so people could sit wherever they want. There was a better distance within the people, and it took off. So when the plane took off, roughly I would assume about 10 over or under 10 minutes. That I heard the plane stewardess over the microphone saying that the plane is the normal information that it's above. I think they said about 11,000 foot, and asking people not to move around and keep the seat belts on until the lights are off and things like that. And then I heard a big bang. So and a smoke erupted. We couldn't see anything for a few seconds. So it was a bit scary, and of course traumatized those few seconds. And when the smoke cleared, I was sitting somewhere, I would assume it's the middle of the airplane, where I could stretch my legs, and most people started moving behind me. So I saw kind of a space of a chunk of a small area of the plane missing, and that air was floating in and out, and the oxygen mask started to drop above us, so everything looked a bit more critical. Then after a while, me and others, everyone realized that there was something happening in front of us, where a few rows ahead of us, that I took a video clip after things have settled down, and most people started moving at the back of the plane. And so I think for the first few seconds and minutes, there was I was terrified, and most people were terrified, and of course people responded differently to that kind of a shock. And then we were mainly worried about, trying to listen to. It was difficult to listen to the messages coming from the airplane because of the loudness of the space and the noise that was being created. That the microphone was not very clear. But a few seconds later, we heard the plane is going back to Mogadishu. The air hostess and those who work in the airplane were very helpful to inform people what was happening, calm people down at a really critical time, and most people were supportive to each other. And then a few minutes down the line is when I saw somebody who was really injured. I just saw one person on the plane, but later I heard I saw another person, but there was one person who was kind of there was the inflicts that showed in the body, where he at the back of his body, and you could see that somebody who sat near where the fracture happened. So I think that's mainly. So
the atmosphere inside the plane, according to the video that you filmed, was that of shock?
Well, I think that was the calmer times. It was a lot calmer when I took the video, because things had just kind of stabled down. Of course, it was a lot of shock at the beginning. A lot of people were praying. Some panicked, some went into silence, and everybody wanted to find out what was happening to some extent. So, of course, any human being in that kind of situation would be shocked and traumatized and worried about what was going to happen. But I think when I took the clip, it was in my mind, I think things were a bit more calmer. I realized that the altitude of the plane was not that high, and we already were making our way back to Mogadishu, as the pilot said, and it felt like the pilot and everyone else was in control. So even though people see a lot of panic and things like that, I think most people, to me, felt like they were a lot calmer than it was in a few minutes.
When you tried to okay, what did you tell yourself? What came to you?
At first, I forgot that I was on a plane because I just saw white smoke, and it was a few seconds I didn't realize where it was, and when things calmed down, of course we saw a hole in the plane, and the first thing you worry about is can we really make it? It was that worrying feeling was there, but it was really traumatizing. Thinking back right now, the first minute or seconds, and when things happened, I really didn't think that we would make it. But of course, after things calmed down, it was a lot easier to be hopeful and at least take out the phone and take a few clips and things like that. And by that time, to my mind, I understood that it would be a lot calmer and a lot more stable, and the plane stabilized. There was not that much turbulence, and of course we give credit to the pilot who landed that plane, and the people who worked in that plane on how they handled the situation and tried to help people reduce panic and so on, and help people walk back to the plane. So I think the feeling, of course, is different at each stage, but later on we were much more concerned about if the plane was going to be able to land, or if things could deteriorate, before it lands and so on. So at each level we were worried about something. At some point I felt that, we will not be safe. The point is, if this could be maintained, maybe it could land. Then the other point is, if this could be maintained, maybe it could land. And we landed well, and we were received very well at the airport. Emergency fire, we had the disposal of everyone there, giving us attention.
What was the level that the plane was flying at the time of the accident?
I think, I'm not an expert on air flying, but I think it was about 11,000 feet. That's what I heard when it occurred, or just above 11,000 feet. People, I was sitting in an aisle, but people who were sitting at the window were saying, we're just above Balad, which is a few kilometers away from the capital, or they could view Balad. So I don't think we reached that far. And again, the little physics I know is if we were up higher, up in the altitude, it would be much worse if, a section of the plane started missing at that level. So, but, I do think it was mainly, it felt like a structural problem.
Other rumors we have indicated that there was a bomb inside the plane. There was a bomb that occurred inside the plane, and there was someone fell out from the plane. Tell us.
Oh, I don't know. There was that discussion was there, when we landed, and some people were saying maybe there was somebody missing, but nobody was saying for certain that I know XYZ was sitting there. But there was this feeling that somebody was missing, and again, when the plane landed, we started walking towards the hole itself to view it, and it did look like a place where one or two people could really go over there. If somebody was sitting at that seat where it happened, I'm sure that person will be unable to survive. I'm not sure, but I would assume that. So, but I cannot really say that in certain. But to me, it didn't feel like an explosion, because I haven't experienced explosion from a distance, and it was a lot more, shaky. Maybe, I don't know if it's something smaller or so on, but to me it felt like more of a compression problem. But again, I'm not an expert on this kind of situations, and whatever I say is more of an assumption than really an exacting of what happened. What I know is we had a big sound, the air pressure increased, and there was a bit of a cloud of dust or a mist or something like that erupted in the air.
Was that your worst experience in your life?
Yes, I think that is the worst experience. I was sometime before near a place where an explosion happened, but I've never been on a plane that had a hole in itself, and it was really I would say the worst experience I had. Yeah. Despite what happened to this morning, I'm ready to take the same plane or the same airplane company that with the flight that we missed yesterday. Of course, in respecting the culture of the Somali resilience, we just have to continue working if we survive, and I think it will be an honor, of course, to do that, but also it reflects on where we work. People in Mogadishu and Somalia are faced with challenges, and they make it better. They learn from it, and those who survive try to improve whatever they were doing. So I think in support of that, and in support of course, our soldiers who are out there, taking the risk at first hand, we can't fail them. So this morning I plan to go to the same meeting I was supposed to go to yesterday in Djibouti, attend the conference for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and then do my work, and I'm really honored to do that.